comes that pressure. Mayfield in the middle. It's intercepted. It's Derek Barnes. It's off to San Francisco for the Lions.
Mike, you will never be able to say enough about what Dan Campbell has done to the Detroit Lions. You will not be able to say enough. And I think that Sheila Hamp deserves about that same level of praise.
Indeed, they have to give credit to ownership. Welcome back to the program, everybody. That audio was courtesy of the National Football League, NBC Sports, also NBC Universal. And you heard the voices of Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth, Derek Barnes, Detroit Lions linebacker, making that key play, intercepting Baker Mayfield's pass as the Detroit Lions beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFC divisional round playoff game to advance to the NFC championship game. And yes, let the party begin in the Motor City. And also, speaking of letting a party begin, the party, we always have fun with her, and she's back on the show, loving her Detroit Lions. She's the director of Rider Management, covering the NFC North for Our Turf Football. Sonia Greenfield. Sonia, there's a party going on, and hey, it's your party, or I should say it's a Detroit party. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you again for having me, and you know the drill. It ain't no party like a Detroit party, because a Detroit party do not stop. So, yeah, super excited. It is going crazy in the Motor City, and I love it for them. I'm so excited for everybody that's there. I'm so excited for the Lions. It's just great. And, again, I'm a superstitious person. We're talking, so it's our good luck charm. So we've got this in the bag.
You got that right, Sonia. And as always, again, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us on the program. And, indeed, Detroit has been rocking all season long, and it's been rocking lately because now the Lions are possibly one step closer to maybe having a date with destiny, maybe having a party with the Lombardi, so to speak, but they've got to handle business as they go up against the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship game. Before we get into all of that, I got to ask you, just give me your thoughts. What words came to your mind when the Lions took care of their business, beating the Buccaneers in a close game at Ford Field?
Some words that came to mind were, I would say, I won't say disciplined, but I'll say that they were focused. I think they lost focus a little bit at the beginning because it shouldn't have been that close at the beginning. But then when they were able to really kind of put it together and pull themselves up, and they took care of business. So I would say that they were focused, and they knew that they take care of business and handle what they did, and they looked great. So they were focused. That's my biggest thing. They were focused.
Yeah, that was no excuse. I mean, Detroit clearly had an overwhelming lead really until middle of the fourth quarter. Baker Mayfield got some key passes to the likes of Mike Evans, and you're right about that. It should have not gotten that close. Detroit should have ran away with that one, but nevertheless, it was a close game. Hey, everybody got their money's worth. All the football fans, including people in the Motor City, they got their money's worth. As the Detroit Lions were going to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a very close game to advance to the NFC Championship game. All right, let's get right to the game now. So the Detroit Lions beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 31-23. Jahmyr Gibbs, listen, running, receiving, whatever, he can do it all and then some. 9 carries for 74 yards and a rushing touchdown. And he had 4 catches for 40 yards. Give me your thoughts on Jahmyr's performance in this game.
He's a beast. I mean, that kid can go. He's got a motor on him and just really brings an extra spark to that offense. He is an all-around good player, and so glad that the Lions were able to get him, and, you know, that Brad Holmes had the foresight to grab him and get him on this team, because I think he is a difference maker. He is a playmaker. He just, you can't say enough good things about him. He's just an all-around offensively gifted player and a big man and fast, and you love to see it.
Yeah, Jameer's just been dynamite all season long for Detroit, and he definitely fits in well with that offense and what Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator, what they're trying to do in the offensive game plan, and certainly he handled his business in the Lions' victory. David Montgomery, 10 carries for 33 yards. Just give me your thoughts on David's performance in the game against the Bucs.
David's performance was very good, too. I don't think it was as electric as Jahmyr Gibbs is, but he is like that kind of power back, give me the yardage and just, kind of bring it and punch you in the face kind of running back. And I think he likes that. I like that style of running back. And just one of the big keys to the victory, I think, with the Lions. So love that for him. He's such a great player and just like that good old school kind of running back, and I love that.
It's so refreshing to see power backs, in a league where it's about quarterbacks and it's about wide receivers, but it's good to see a bruiser, right, a power back, as you said, kind of shine from time to time, and certainly David Montgomery made his presence felt in this game. Craig Reynolds, we haven't heard his name a lot this year. He was able to get a rushing touchdown when the Lions went for it on a key 4th and goal. Give me your thoughts on Craig scoring that touchdown.
I think that was just a very good touchdown. He was in the right place at the right time. I'm so glad that they called on him, and he was just able to get it done. And then his little celebration at the end was hilarious. His little Baker Mayfield celebration after that touchdown was fantastic. But I think he was just kind of one of those great plug-and-play players that Dan Campbell likes to have. And, just he fits the mold, and he was ready for when his time got called, and you'd love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we didn't hear his name a lot this year, but he made a play when it mattered the most, and he wound up getting the Lions a rushing touchdown. I want to talk now about Sam Laporta. Listen, 9 catches, 65 yards. Didn't do much in the wild card game against the Rams, but he definitely made up for it against the Buccaneers. Give me your thoughts on Sam's play in this game.
Sam's play was very good, very much needed, gave the guys what they needed. And also, it was just nice to see him out there as being a part of the offense with his injuries going. And I think that just shows the heart that he has. I mean, he is definitely one of the top tight ends in the league. And I think he made it shown. Was it his best performance? Not, but because of his knee. But I think that I think he's just been a fantastic addition to this offense. And, he had some key plays, and you love to see it. And he's just, even some key blocks. So he is just really good and has been able to show up for this Lions team, and you love to see it.
Absolutely. I mean, we know that C.J. Stroud most likely is going to win this year's Rookie of the Year, but Sam Laporta is definitely going to get some strong consideration as well. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 8 catches, 77 yards, and a touchdown. What's not to love about Amon-Ra? Since I've had you on the program, we've talked about his play, and he's just gotten better year in and year out. Give me your thoughts on Amon-Ra and his play.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say enough good things about Amon-Ra St. Brown. Strong player, very just good offensive wide receiver, just really good, and just there when you need him, and you can depend on him. And so he is such a great player, able to just, catch these passes, also able to put up some good blocks. He did, and he's a strong guy, too. Dragged a couple players a few yards. So he's just a really good player and fun to watch. And I think he had some fantastic plays, and I think that he'll continue to have great plays going forward. But he's been one of the top receivers in the league and just keeps getting better, and you just love to see it.
Absolutely, and the best just continues to get better, and Amon-Ra is getting better week after week and game after game. And Josh Reynolds, 2 catches for 27 yards and a touchdown. Josh made his presence felt in this game. Give me your thoughts on Josh and his play.
Josh was very good in this game as well. I think that he contributed to the offense in very good ways and was able to, keep plays alive, keep drives alive. Keep drives alive, and just able to give Jared Goff that extra, wide receiver target. And you love to see him do that because he's just so good.
Yeah, Josh made his presence felt in the wild card game against the Rams, and certainly he made his presence felt getting a touchdown against the Bucs. I want to get to the defensive side now. Ifeatu Melifonwu and Brian Branch both had sacks in this game. Give me your thoughts on these gentlemen in their play against the Bucs.
They were so good, and I think the biggest thing is that they really kind of helped fire up the crowd. Just when it felt like the Bucs were starting to get some things going, here they come, and were able to stop the Buccaneers, able to stop some drives and get after the quarterback. And sacks are some of my favorite plays, so I love it when opposing team sacks. I love those. So those are some of my favorite plays, and I think they came at key times, and it just really helped get this team fired up and the crowd fired up.
Absolutely, and then defense will get a crowd fired up. People talk about offense. Offense puts butts in the seats, but they say defense wins championships and defense wins important games, and certainly the defense stepped up with those gentlemen that we mentioned earlier. Jalen Reeves-Maybin, he also recorded a sack in this game. Give me your thoughts on Jalen and his play.
Jalen has been playing pretty good this year. It was nice to see him get involved in this game, and I love having him there. It's been kind of an up and down year for him, but I think it's been overall very good. And I like I said, I love sacks. Those are my favorite, and I like just seeing him play. So he was very much so a contributor to this defense and making sure that, the Buccaneers were stopped, and that's what you have to see.
All right, and then someone that was involved in a lot of trash talking up to the game on social media, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He made his presence felt getting an interception. Give me your thoughts on C.J.'s play.
He had to give that interception, and I love that. They have an identity, they have an edge, and they're going to back it up, and their coach supports them with that. And CJ is just the epitome of that. And so to call out Baker on social media, get the interception, and toss the ball back to Baker was just fantastic. And again, the type of player that Baker is, you knew he expected something like that to happen. So CJ was just amazing, and I love that. And again, it just brought that extra oomph to the crowd, and it just made that game even better.
And speaking of making things better, Aiden Hutchinson, we have talked about Aiden since I've had you on the program, and man, he did his thing in the wild card game against the Rams, and he did his thing against the Bucs. He recorded a sack. Give me your thoughts on Aiden's play.
Aiden is just one of those guys who has a motor, and once he gets going downhill towards you, you better watch out, because he is such a difference maker, and he gets fired up and is ready to go and brings it for the team. And even though one sack, that's okay, he still is able to get into these quarterbacks' faces and able to give give that offensive line a handful and something to work around and keep in mind. So I love having him in the game. I love, just what he brings to the team. And it was evident.
All right, and somebody that made their presence felt, and somebody that could get a free Coney in Detroit for quite some time, and that's Derek Barnes. He had the interception to end the game for the Lions. Give me your thoughts on Derek's play.
Free Conies and Werners for life for him, for this whole Lions team, honestly. But no, he called game, and you love that. And, again, he has been on fire since the first game of this season, intercepting Patrick Mahomes. So he's just riding high this season and has been such a difference maker on that defense. And, fortunate to have him here, fortunate for him to be able to experience this and watch him grow even, in this early in his career. So he's just laser focused, and it was really special for me to see him get that interception to end the game. So it was just a lot of fun, and I'm so glad that he's there.
Absolutely, and Derek made his presence felt, making that key play to end the game. Jared Goff completed 30 out of 43 passes for Jared Goff, he completed 30 out of 43 passes for 287 yards and 2 touchdown passes. Again, similar to his performance against the Rams, he was solid, he was efficient. Give me your thoughts on Jared's play.
Like you said, very solid, very efficient, but also being able to manage the game. He didn't make mistakes. He's been there before, and so I think that experience has been helping him. And, Dan Campbell really does trust him and has given him the keys, and I think that we're seeing the evidence of that and, the results of that hard work and that mindset and that trust. And so while Jared Goff has not had flashy numbers, he has had very consistent and very stable numbers, and that's what you love to see. That's what you need to see.
Absolutely, especially when the playoffs roll around. It's not going to be a next week. It's not going to be a next game. Win or you go home. And certainly you talked about Jared's poise. He's been there before. Coach Campbell trusts him, and he did what he needed to do to get the job done, and he happened to do that. And let's talk now about, you mentioned about Coach Campbell, Dan Campbell. So the legend continues for MCDC, Motor City Dan Campbell, winning the wild card game, now winning the divisional game. The legend continues to grow for Coach Campbell. Give me your thoughts on Coach Campbell and how he coached this win over the Bucs.
I think he has shown his big courage. I would say, okay, courage is not really the word I want to use, but he's shown, just that he is just willing to just do what needs to be done to get the win. But I also think he learned from his mistake in Dallas, and you've seen that. He's still going to be gutsy and still try and call, something to kind of keep you on your toes, but he's also going to play smart and play responsibly, I think, in most situations, but, pulling out the tricks if he absolutely needs to. And I like that. He called a very good game. And I think whatever he said at halftime to kind of get them together and to get them playing a little bit better, I think, has worked, or obviously worked. So he has been a true leader on this team. I think that's the best way you can put it. He knows how to motivate the guys. He knows, he genuinely cares about them. And so I think that that's all evident in this entire team.
Yeah, he's done great things in such a short amount of time. And like you said, Sonia, he has been a motivator, and they really respond to him, not just Jared, but both sides of the ball. They really respond to him. And, man, he's just been a cult hero so far in the city of Detroit and amongst Lions fans. And you talk about Coach Campbell calling a good game, somebody that's really been doing their thing all season long, or really since the Campbell era has begun, is Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Lions. Give me your thoughts on Coach Johnson calling the offense for this playoff run for Detroit.
He's put Jared in wonderful positions. He's called some really great plays, and you talk about Amon-Ra being on fire, and I think that is all because of him calling some very good plays. I think edgy enough, but not too crazy that it kind of confuses people or confuses the players. But I think kind of just going with what has worked all season and knowing how to take advantage of the defenses that he's been given. So I think that he has done an excellent job calling the game. I think his probably best work was probably in the Rams game, and just seeing how he was able to just kind of get these guys, continue to keep them in the game. And so I think that he has done a fantastic job being an offensive coordinator.
All right, let's switch over to the defensive side of the ball. Defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn Similar to Ben Johnson, his name has come up in head coaching vacancies, but for the moment, he remains the defensive coordinator for the Lions. Give me your thoughts on Coach Glenn and how he's coached the defense in this playoff run.
He's coached this defense very well. I think the biggest weakness is the secondary. It definitely could use a little bit of work, but because, wide receivers have absolutely cooked the defense. But in terms of defensive line play and defensive schemes, I think he has been actually pretty adept at calling things. And nothing really has, aside of some wide receiver play, nothing has really gotten too over the heads. The Lions have been able to keep themselves in games because of that defense. So I think that he has done a masterful job of calling this defense.
Yeah, it has shown with the play of Hutchinson, also Melifonwu and Branch, and of course Derek Barnes making that play in that game against the Bucs. Coach Glenn has definitely made some big strides. And let's talk now about making a big stride. The NFC Championship game. Detroit Lions are going to be going up against the San Francisco 49ers. You talk about talent on top of talent for the 49ers. Let's start off with the Lions defense. The Lions defense are going to have their hands full with Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, also Mr. Christian McCaffrey, also George Kittle, and Deebo Samuel. It's looking like Deebo is going to be playing in this game. Give me your thoughts on what are going to be the strategy or the keys to victory for the Lions defense to neutralize the 49ers offense.
Whew, they're going to have their hands full. They are going to have their hands full. That line is going to have to really work against San Francisco's offensive line to be able to contain Christian McCaffrey because, he can always go that you can always go there, but then, you've got George Kittle flying around out there, It's going to be hard to contain everybody. I think that's going to be their biggest challenge is setting the edge, making sure that, Christian does not get out in front of people, being able to kind of jam up Deebo. You hate to go after people with injuries, but if he's not going to be 100%, kind of go after him. But even if you do that, you still have a Christian McCaffrey. You still have George Kittle. And, you've got these guys that are supremely talented. So they're going to have their hands full, but I feel that they can tame them.
Not to mention, you have a nice supporting cast with Jawan Jennings and Brandon Ayuk. Those guys have been solid this year for the 49ers. So let's switch over to the other side of the ball now. The 49ers defense, listen, Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner. You've got Diamador Lenore. My goodness, that 49ers defense, what can you say about them? They have just been so good. The Lions offense, Goff, St. Brown, Laporta, Gibbs, and Montgomery. What do you think are going to be the keys to victory, Sonia, for the Lions offense to get points against that 49er defense?
Run the ball. I think I think the Packers kind of showed that a little bit, that they have a hard time, that the Niners have a hard time stopping the run. And I think that the Packers-Niner game was a little bit closer than what it should have been. And I think that the Lions can definitely use some of that. And so if they're able to run on this team, and our offensive line, the Lions' offensive line is pretty stout and pretty good. And I think that they will be able to kind of create holes for Jahmyr Gibbs. I think they'll be able to create some holes for David Montgomery. So I think that they are going to be able to make some things happen. Sam Laporta can be used, obviously as a good receiving tight end, but occasionally he does do some blocking. So I think that there will be time to see that they will be good and able to get the ball out. And I think that our offensive line will be able to protect Jared Goff so that he can get the ball out to people.
I want to stay just with the Lions offense against the 49ers defense. Frank Ragnow, he suffered an injury in the game against the Bucs. He returned to the game, and it showed his toughness and what a cult hero he is in Detroit. I got to ask you, do you think Frank will be able to do enough to neutralize Bosa, Armstead, and the rest of the crew on that defensive line?
I think he will be able to. And you also forget, he's more of the center guy. But you've got Penei Sewell, who does play right guard, but he can swing out, and he can, push guys down. And I think that's probably going to be who they might be able to put on Nick Bosa sometimes. But also, Taylor Decker is no slob either. So I think while they will have their hands full, I think they will be able to go and protect the line or protect Jared and do what they need to do. And I think while Frank Ragnow might be a little banged up, I think he is definitely going to go out there and give it his all and do what he needs to do.
This is going to be an intriguing game. It's going to be fun. The NFC Championship game at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California, between the Detroit Lions and the San Francisco 49ers. And, Sonia, I got to ask you, we talked earlier about the Lions and the buzz in the city with the team just having this amazing season and this wonderful playoff run. What's the buzz like in the city with the Lions being in the NFC Championship game?
Oh, my gosh, it's ridiculously awesome and just so much fun. And everybody is just so happy for the Lions because it's like, everybody has waited so long for this to happen. It's been talked about. It's been, promised by coaches, but Dan Campbell was absolutely able to deliver. And I don't think that people were ready for it to happen or expecting it to happen this fast. But now that it has, everybody is so excited and so happy. And the buzz is just electric. I mean, I just saw an article saying that Delta is going to change a couple of planes and make them have bigger flights, bigger planes going from Detroit to San Francisco just to get more fans on board and get them out there. So, I mean, it's electric. It is amazing and just so much fun to be around because it's like everybody has waited so long for this and finally it is here.
It's been a long time coming. The last time the Detroit Lions played in the NFC Championship game was the 1991 season when they went up against Washington. They fell short, but hopefully stranger things have happened and things can be better this time around for the Lions as they're out on the West Coast to take on the 49ers. Sonia, as always, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much. And tell everybody what's currently going on over at Our Turf Football.
Oh, for sure. Thank you again for having me on. I really appreciate it. And like I said, I'm a little bit superstitious, so I think, hopefully this is another good luck charm. But over at Our Turf, we have our podcast on Tuesday nights. And you can find us over on YouTube at Our Turf Football on YouTube. You can like and subscribe it, and then that way you can interact with us during our podcast live. You can follow us over on Twitter at OurTurfFB. And yeah, so just come on over. Like I said, Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern time is our podcast, and we'd love to have you stop by and chat with us.
Awesome. One more time, Sonia, tell everybody where they can find you on social media and the website.
Sure. So you can find me on social media at mom, 2, 3, RN. And you can find me on Instagram at Sonia920, SONJA 920. Also, Our Turf, you can find us on YouTube, Our Turf, OURTURS, FOOT. Football, Our Turf Football on YouTube. And then we also have a website, www.ourturffb.com. So, yep, we'd love to see you just chat with us. We love it.
Awesome. And you heard it from us. She's Sonia Greenfield, the Director of Writer Management, covering the NFC North for Our Turf Football. Check her out on the website and, of course, on the YouTube channel with the podcast. Sonia, as always, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, for sure. Always glad to come on, and thank you so much for having me.
Here comes that pressure. Mayfield in the middle. It's intercepted. It's Derek Barnes. It's off to San Francisco for the Lions.
Mike, you will never be able to say enough about what Dan Campbell has done to Detroit Lions. You will not be able to say enough. And I think that Sheila Hamp deserves about that same level of praise.